Hello, my name is Nicole, and thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. Today, I titled this message, Agenda Setting, and we are going to zero in, of course, on the media, but we're also going to talk about none other than our family members and friends and others who are good for setting specific agendas. Now, for some of you all who are not aware of agenda setting, Wikipedia says agenda setting is the creation of public awareness and concern of salient issues by the news media. As well, agenda setting describes the way that media attempts to influence viewers and establish a hierarchy of news prevalence. Two basic assumptions underlie most researches on agenda setting. The press and the media do not reflect reality. They filter and shape it. Being that I have a background in journalism and communications, I know that firsthand. The second point, media concentration on a few issues and subjects leads the public to perceive those issues as more important than other issues. These core statements were established by measuring the changes in salience through the use of surveys with the presence of more frequent news coverage. Now, those of you all who have been wondering why some media stories get more attention than others, thank agenda setting journalists, agenda setting editorialists, agenda setting editors, agenda setting news media owners for their work. For some of you all, God has called you away from the television, called you away from most internet websites that you've once looked at. He's called you away from the radio and certain news shows that you were quite entertained by. Simply put, because the agenda setting that takes place influences your mind in such a way where there is no room for the one true God. Okay? There is no room. If I am so focused on whatever is put in front of me, I turn on the TV, there is the topic. I turn on the radio, there is that same topic. I go on the internet, and on the front page of my favorite website is that topic. My focus is going to be on that topic. Where is the time for me to focus on God's agenda? And we know God's agenda definitely is in our best interests. He has a long track record of blessing those who are obedient to him. And he also has a long track record of cursing those who are disobedient to him. And you can take a look at the Old Testament. Agenda setting happens in the church. There are those outside influences who are going to talk with the church, who receives the 501c3 benefits, governmental benefits, to speak about certain subjects. So when you see a lot arising about the apocalypse, and everywhere you turn, there's something related to Revelation or the end of the world, you got to know that there are those who will focus in on that subject matter depending on what the main news topic is all about. So if the news topic is about bombs or the threat of bombs being launched or dropped, then wouldn't it be quite convenient to have a message dealing with the apocalypse? You see, I know some people want to believe that God has his hand on many, many things. And he does. But there are times where God himself will say, I'm not in that. And that particular story is manufactured by the media. And that particular weather issue was created by man. And that topic that those people are fussing about, well, they're really not angry. They're just actors and actresses. And the goal is to create division. And then that division will spark new debates, new interests, and eventually new change. What are those main topics that show up everywhere? And then what you do is connect the dots to see how those main topics influence the way you vote, influence the various companies that you buy from. influence anybody who is in some type of powerful position to do something for someone else. And you might be caught in between all of it if you don't have a voice, if you don't have an opinion, if you go along with whatever the advertiser puts in front of you. Then, at some point, the manipulation takes place, and what you thought was your opinion really isn't. The press and the media do not reflect reality. They filter and shape it. There are those individuals who give far too much credit to what they lay their eyes on. It's a matter of importance to self, because I watched it, because I read it, because it's what fuels me for today. So somehow it's so significant. And if somebody comes along and says that you have been brainwashed, that that's a scripted event or what have you, because I'm so focused on I'm going to be upset with that person. But I chose this, and so it must be right. No, they chose it for you. The day that you subscribe to cable television, they picked your programming for you. They pick what goes on the front of many websites. You don't have any type of say-so on it unless, of course, your dollars were spent on the item. Then they're going to promote it even more because they want more of your dollars. But at the end of the day, they make the decisions. We don't. Whatever is the topic that someone or some group wants out there in mainstream media, they know how to market in such a way to get that topic the importance that they feel it needs, the attention that it needs. We're going to keep bombarding you with this news coverage until you start to believe that it is something that's relevant to you. How many times have people watched news stories and really at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with you? How many times have people gone to events with someone, right? And the event had nothing to do with you, or bought something and you really didn't need it. But because you saw the advertising, you went on and you bought it. You have been manipulated, my friends. Now, this agenda setting takes place in some families. There is the matriarch or the patriarch who says that this is the particular topic that we're going to discuss, and that topic just might be you, for instance. And it might be about all things that you haven't done within the past days, weeks, months, or even years. You might be the center of everything because that person doesn't like you, but yet you thought the person did. You hear through the grapevine that the person wants nothing more than to rid you off the face of the planet. That is disheartening, right? You've become the topic without knowing that you're the topic until somebody comes over and says, hey, there's some frequent news coverage going on in the family about you. What? Then you have, of course, as I've mentioned in past audio, the flying monkeys who are responsible for filtering and shaping the news. And they're going to filter and shape it in the best interest of their handler, the one who's given them money, giving them gifts, giving them opportunities. That person is going to make sure that they don't say anything that disturbs their cash flow. That person is going to make sure that they're not so-called caught up in anything, even though they are caught up in something, because once you've made a decision on what side you're on, you got yourself caught up in whatever that side feels is the agenda for today. And you're going to help me with whatever that subject matter is, says the handler. And some people get paid handsomely for being very good flying monkeys. Some of you all know this if you're the black sheep in the family and you have golden sisters and brothers. Let's talk about this agenda setting where it shows up at the workplace. The manager says this is what the topic is, and everybody listens. And then there's that one who's sitting in the back who says, well, wait a minute, but I got a question. And so they want to share some information, and that information, though, is not a part of the agenda. You know what they're going to tell them. Let's talk about this after the meeting. No, I think everybody should be made aware of, let's talk about it after the meeting, because that's not on the agenda. And if you don't have a room full of people who are very curious about what that topic is and would prefer to hear it in the presence of everyone, that topic is going to be suppressed by that one who really wants to share it. Because that handler, manager, business owner, supervisor, what have you, who feels that it might be a controversial topic is going to talk to that person in such a way to get them to shut their mouth. And by the time you catch up and say, yeah, I'm very curious to know what it was that you wanted to share at the meeting, that person says, oh, no, it's nothing. It's okay. It's all right. Yep. That handler got to him. There are those few issues, those main issues, and whatever other topic that is designed to lead the public into believing that these are the issues that's relevant to me, to my household. But then upon closer inspection, you realize, no, these issues are not. I'm not going through that type of problem, that this one and that one. Yeah, but hey, it's somebody with an agenda, right? That they need you to support it. Now, this is what hurts. And I've got to go there today. And it's going to ruffle some people's feathers. But I'm going to say it anyway. Thank you, Jesus. What hurts is when you got a particular ethnicity who preys on other ethnicities to get those ethnicities, usually the minorities, to follow suit with the agenda, never giving them credit for the efforts that they've made in getting that subject front and center. That's what hurts. You basically use people to get what you want, and then you dump them once you got what you want. And you think that's not going to create division? If I know that somebody only comes over into my neck of the woods during a certain time of the year just to see how I'm going to vote, convince me that they're going to give me this, that, and the other, then I go ahead, I make the effort to do what needs to be done. And then when they get into office, they don't do anything that they promise. You think I'm not going to be upset? And a lot of people feel this way with president after president after president. And so they will raise up all sorts of protests against individuals who do this. This is why some of the minorities will not even go along with the mainstream programming to be a part of this group, be a part of this protest, get down here and vote, do this and do that, because they have been burned over and over again. You have people who will start up organizations, and if they see a face on that with that organization, or a face that is supporting something, and they don't particularly agree with that face, they know how to take some things down real quick. And I have been one of those that, we notice that it's her who's spreading this message, helping us out with this, but we don't need her help. So let's shut her down. And this is why I do not go along with everything that happens or everything that is front and center, because I know that there's always some little small group or someone that is not in support of the one true God and his son, Jesus Christ. And when they know I'm attached to it and they know what I'm about, No, thank you. We'll find some other people who's not a believer like she is, who has a bigger platform. Of course, you do that. Agenda setting. It is whatever a small group or an individual wants, and they will get out here and they will get who they want to go along with the programming. And then when it's all said and done, bye-bye, see you. You got family members who the agenda is about the next family holiday event. And as long as you are on board and you got your money where your mouth is, hey, it's all gravy. But then once they get the credit, once they get all of what they get out of it, they don't know you. And people keep falling into this trap over and over again because they believe simply in family. But the Lord, he wants us to look beyond that and say, you need to look at the company that you keep, because some of the people in your family are of light and others are of darkness. And the Lord is not going to bless people who are supporting those who are in darkness. You might get along for a while. Everything might look good for a season, and then poof, that person who the Lord warned you about using various people, places, and things turns on you like a snake. And the only person that you can fault is yourself for going along with somebody else's programming, with somebody's agenda that had nothing to do with you, but you went on and allowed them to interject you into something that you shouldn't have been a part of. Did you pray about it? That's why as believers, we got to tell people, let me pray about that. Let me think about that. Is that something that I really should be doing? So I thank you. I thank you, Lord Jesus, for once again inspiring me to do a message like this, because somebody feels a little bit lighter as a result. Just be mindful of the type of agendas, the topics, the subjects that are on the table, and pray and ask the Lord whether you should be a part of those. Also, look up the necessary research as it relates to what's being put in front of you, and connect the dots as to why suddenly that topic is so important while other ones aren't. And I would suggest that you start zeroing in on the topics that you truly believe in. Not what the media puts in front of you, but what you believe in, what you would like to see changed. And even if you don't get a lot of ground, at least talk about them. At least bring some attention to some of these subjects, because to be quite honest, I don't know about some of you all, but I'm tired of what the media puts in front of us, and I don't have to swallow it just because the media puts it in front of us. When I know it's about helping a certain minority, certain elitist group, certain ethnicity, you see. And when you look at it, from a long-term perspective, it's not helping the average Joe, right? So I thank you just for supporting Enterprise 7, and may God richly bless you as well as those that you love. Please do check the description box for anything that might be of interest. Blessings to you.